as if the wizardry were for big things. Maybe it's not right to do spells for little stuff like this. And anyway, you can't do the spells until you've taken the oath, and once you've taken it, that's supposed to be forever. Oh, come on, it's a joke. What harm can there be in saying the words if it's a joke? And if it's not, then I'll be a wizard. Her father knocked on her door, then walked in with a plate loaded with dinner and a glass of cola. Nita grinned up at him, not too widely, for it hurt. Thanks, Dad. Here, he said, after Nita took the plate and the glass and handed her a couple of aspirin. Your mother says to take these. Thanks. Nita took them with the Coke while her father sat down on the edge of the bed. Nita, he said, is there something going on I should know about? Huh? It's been once a week now, sometimes twice for quite a while. Do you want me to speak to Joe Varela and ask him to have a word with Joanne? No, sir. Nita's father stared at his hands for a moment. What shall we do then? I really can't afford to start you in karate lessons again. Jiu-jitsu. Whatever, Nita. What is it? Why? Excuse me. Why does this keep happening? Why don't you hit them back? I used to. Do you think it made a difference? Joanne would just get more kids to help. Her father stared at her, and Nita flushed hot at the stern look on his face. I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to yell at you, but fighting back just gets them madder. It doesn't help. It might help keep you from getting mangled every week if you just keep trying, her father said angrily. I hate to admit it, but I'd love to see you wipe the ground up with that loudmouth rich kid. So would I, Nita thought. That's the problem. She swallowed, feeling guilty over how much she wanted to get back at Joanne somehow. Dad, Joanne and her bunch just don't like me. I don't do the things they do or play the games they play or like the things they like, and I don't want to. So they don't like me. That's all. Her father looked at her and shook his head sadly. I just don't want to see you hurt. Kidling, I don't know. If you could just be a little more like them, if you could try to... He trailed off, running one hand through his silver hair. What am I saying? He muttered. Look, if there's anything I can do to help, will you tell me? Yes, sir. Okay. If you feel better tomorrow, would you rake up the backyard a little? I want to go over the lawn around the rowan tree with the aerator. Maybe put down some seed. Sure. I'll be okay, Dad. They didn't break anything. My girl. He got up. Don't read so much it hurts your eyes now. I won't, Nita said. Her father strode out the door, forgetting to close it behind himself as usual. She ate her supper slowly, for it hurt to chew, and she tried to think about something besides Joanne or that book. The moon was at first quarters night. It would be a good night to take the telescope out and have a look at the shadows in the craters. Or there was that fuzzy little comet. Maybe it had more tail than it did last week. It was completely useless. The book lay there on her bed and stared at her, daring her to do something childlike, something silly, something absolutely ridiculous. Nita put aside her empty plate, picked up the book, and stared back at it. All right, she said under her breath. All right. She opened the book at random, and on the page to which she opened, there was the oath. It was not decorated in any way. It stood there, a plain block of type all by itself in the middle of the page, looking serious and important. Nita read the oath to herself first to make sure of the words. Then quickly, before she could start to feel silly, she read it out loud. In life's name and for life's sake, she read, I say that I will use the art for nothing but the service of that life. I will guard growth and ease pain. I will fight to preserve what grows and lives well in its own way, and I will change no object or creature unless its growth and life or that of the system of which it is a part are threatened. To these ends, in the practice of my art, I will put aside fear for courage and death for life when it is right to do so, till universe's end. The words seemed to echo slightly, as if the room were larger than it really was. Nita sat very still, wondering what the ordeal would be like, wondering what would happen now. Only the wind spoke softly in the leaves of the trees outside the bedroom window. Nothing else seemed to stir anywhere. Nita sat there, and slowly the tension began to drain out of her as she realized that she hadn't been hit by lightning, nor had anything strange at all happened to her. Now she felt silly. And tired, too, she discovered. The effects of her beating were catching up with her. Wearily, Nita shoved the book under her pillow, then lay back against the headboard and closed her hurting eyes. So much for the joke. She would have a nap, and then later she'd get up and take the telescope out back. But right now... After a while, night was not night anymore. That was what brought Nita to the window much later. She leaned on the sill and gazed out in calm wonder at her backyard, which didn't look quite the same as usual. A blaze of undying morning lay over everything. Bushes and trees cast light instead of shadow, and she could see the wind. Standing in the ivy under her window, she turned her eyes up to the silver glowing sky to get used to the brilliance. "How about that?" she said. "The backyard's here too." Next to her, the lesser brilliance that gazed up at the same sky shrugged slightly. "Of course," it said. "This is Time-Heart after all." "Yes," Nita said anxiously as they passed across the yard and out into the bright shadow of the steel and crystal towers. "But did I do right?" Her companion shrugged again. "Go find out," it said, and glanced up again. Nita wasn't sure she wanted to follow the glance. Once she had looked up and seen... "I dreamed you were gone," she said suddenly. "The magic stayed, but you went away." She hurt inside. Enough to cry, but her companion flickered with laughter. "No one ever goes away forever," it said, "especially not here." Nita looked up then, into the bright morning and the brighter shadows.
Wait, is her companion her pen?
The day went on and would not end. The sky blazed now like molten silver. The sun on her face woke Nita up as usual. Someone, her mother probably, had come in late last night to cover her up and take the dishes away. She turned over slowly, stiff but not in too much pain, and felt the hardness under her pillow. Nita sat up and pulled the book out, felt around for her glasses. The book fell open in her hand at the listing for the Wizards in the New York metropolitan area, which Nita had glanced at the afternoon before. Now she looked down the first column of names, and her breath caught. Callahan, Juanita L., 243 East Clinton Avenue, Hempstead, New York, 11575, 516-555-6786. Novice, pre-rating. Her mouth fell open. She shut it. "I'm going to be a wizard," she thought. Nita got up and got dressed in a hurry.